Tottenham have put out a pretty thinly veiled tweet this lunchtime. It has to be said they're welcoming back the fans to tonight's game against Aston Villa, which is live on talkSPORT 2. Three players feature in a sort of painted image on that tweet. Lucas Moura is one, Son is another, and Hugo Lloris leading those two players out of the tunnel at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. One notable absentee from that list. I think a week ago, Harry Kane would probably have featured. Let's come on to Daniel Levy. He's been writing in the programme for tonight, speaking out to the Tottenham fans. Of course, not a very popular figure, given his involvement in the European Super League, the attempt to break away into that competition, and indeed with what's going on with Harry Kane trying to force this move. He's admitted in these programme notes that the season hasn't met expectations. He does say that since they lost the Champions League final in 2019 to Liverpool, they've invested in excess of £250 million in new players. He says everyone had high hopes with the squad we had assembled. Unfortunately, despite sitting top of the Premier League in December, we weren't able to sustain this position. He also says the new stadium is pivotal to generating revenue to invest in the squad, and says every single penny generated does get reinvested back into our club. We are absolutely clear, says Daniel Levy, that central to our ambitions is a successful football team. It's what we all crave, he says. We've come close over the last 7 seasons. Everyone's focus is on a return to regular Champions League participation and competing for honours. And of course, it's that crucial line, those 3 words, if you like, competing for honours. That's the reasons we know that Harry Kane is trying to force himself away from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Competing for honours, that kind of... There you go, Simon, a few pointers in there. I mean, the first part of the three players who are did you say who are on the cover of the programme tonight, Alex?
No, it's on a tweet. It's on a tweet.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Son, Lucas Moura and one other, but not Kane. Interesting. Daniel Levy, do you expect him to be making noises like this at the moment, or going to be competing for major honours? I mean, this is a sensitive point. This is Tottenham's Achilles heel, if you like.
It's the first
they can't win anything.
Well, it's the first time he's had an opportunity to write any programme notes, isn't it? Because they haven't had any fans in to buy programmes. So, of course, Daniel's going to correct some thinking or to assure people of the best intentions, because the allegations will be made that the nature of Tottenham Hotspur's ownership is all about greed and being avaricious. And ultimately, the ESL would have cemented that in people's minds, and the fact that they run a football club which has been economically quite successful over the last few years, but the team on the pitch has declined. So Daniel will say that. Is it responding to criticism, or is it informing people or giving people a correct perspective and balancing off some of the views? Look, the Harry Kane situation, we're jumping to... Who says Harry Kane's trying to force a move? We don't know if he's trying to force a move. We haven't got to that point yet.
Well, you don't hear Tottenham denying it, do you?
We don't hear Tottenham commenting on it. Tottenham are just leaving it alone.
If it wasn't true, Simon, they would have vehemently denied it.
Of course they would.
Well, but has it been put to them, Alex?
Of course it has.
Hang on. Has it been put to them? Harry Kane is trying to force a move. Because that's the one that's the narrative that's being run here. Or Harry Kane is suggesting that he'd like to move.
It's been put to them that Tottenham, is it true, Harry Kane has asked to leave at the end of this season? Of course it has.
Yeah, and Tottenham have chosen not to answer the question, but it doesn't move into... what we're moving into a territory saying he's trying to force a move. Trying to force a move is putting a transfer request in. Suggesting that maybe you're not happy with the level of success and having a discussion with the owner about potentially moving along, if it works for everybody, is not the same as forcing a move.
No, well, no one's saying he's forcing a move.
He just did.
But certainly he's asking to leave at the end of the season.
And I understand that, but I just picked Alex up on the narrative that's being advanced, which is he's forcing a move. He's suggesting that out of the lack of success that's got there, if a move doesn't happen, here's forcing a move. No one pays Daniel Levy what he wants, and Harry Kane puts in a transfer request and downs tools. That's forcing a move. There's a different dynamic completely.
No, he's politely asked to leave at the end of the season. He's not agitating to get out of there this Wednesday lunchtime. I mean,
there's a fine line.
There's no dubiety on that. Go on, Alex.
I was going to say that there's a fine line. Harry Kane obviously will be reluctant to actually issue a transfer request, because that would hit him financially in the pocket. It would also damage his relationship with the Tottenham fans. I've said all week, I think the timing of Harry Kane and his people making it public that he wants to leave before the fans are welcomed back to the stadium, I think that's really crucial. That tells me that Harry Kane believes that he has enough credit in the bank with those Tottenham fans that he won't be the target of any anger or frustration from the terraces tonight. Indeed, that will be directed firmly up to the director's box towards Daniel Levy.
Or is it a flip side of that, Alex? Sorry to cut across you. That it's an endless question. It's an endless question. It's the question that's been reverberating with Harry Kane ad infinitum for a significant period of time. Every time Tottenham don't achieve something, the question gets put to Harry Kane, and the narrative was ramping up and the questions were getting more prolific. Mourinho was drop-kicked out the door, they lose the League Cup, up goes the volume of questions about the same subject matter. So I know you'll say, well, if he wasn't going to leave, he'd have a different answer. But if you're asked the same question, and the question based upon do you want to win something, and are you happy not winning anything, and he's going to say no, because any decent footballer, especially at that level, is going to say, of course I'm not happy not winning something, and I'd like to win something, and if I can't win something here, I'm going to have to leave, aren't I? That's not the same as saying I'm forcing a move out of Tottenham Hotspur, because I signed a contract with them a year ago when they'd won nothing, and increased that contract to put me in a position. I'm just putting some balance in the conversation, that's all.
Well, it doesn't need any balance.
I think it does.
The news is there that Harry Kane this week and his people have asked to leave Tottenham at the end of this season.
I know you'd like to take a trip down hyperbole cul-de-sac, right? But when someone
where's
says...
the hyperbole in that?
i.e., Alex said, Harry Kane is forcing a move. And I've questioned that. I've questioned the fact that because he's under contract and because he may want to move because they're not winning anything and Tottenham have gone off the rails, is very different. If Daniel Levy says, no, I'm sorry, you've got 3 years left on your contract, who's forcing a move then? Do you believe, Alex, let me ask you a question. If Daniel Levy turns around and says, I'm sorry, Harry, not now, what do you think will happen?
Well, my understanding was that conversation took place last summer. Harry Kane was also looking for pastures new last summer. He was persuaded to give them one more year, give Jose Mourinho the chance to do what he does and win a trophy. Hasn't happened. Harry Kane believes that because of that conversation,
he's got a gentleman's agreement
now to leave this summer. And listen, you talk about Daniel Levy. He's got this reputation as a ruthless negotiator. Yes, he's not the easiest person to deal with. But if you look at the recent history of Tottenham, there's a lot of big-name players who've wanted to leave that football club. Daniel Levy has been a reluctant seller. How many of them stayed? Dimitar Berbatov,
good point. When he's got the dough he wanted.
When
he's got the dough he wanted. He forced Ericsson into a situation when he got the dough he wanted out of that deal. If we're in a situation where somebody starts playing fast and loose with the fact they can leverage Harry Kane out of Tottenham, let me ask you another question. Do you think someone can nick him out of Tottenham? Do you think Daniel's not going to extract maximum value? And
of course he is.
But hold on. If he can't extract maximum value because the market doesn't lend itself to it, what's going to happen then?
He's not going to force him to stay there against his will. Kane wants out. Kane feels that
he's not going to give him away,
Jim.
If he can't
give him away, of course not.
But if he can't get top dollar, because if you've got a gentleman's agreement, right, which is what Alex is alluding to, which is basically you stay for another year.
Get top dollar?
Right, because the market won't lend itself to it.
This is Harry Kane.
So what?
Do you think, Trevor, your Manchester City would pay top dollar for Harry Kane? Of course they would.
I don't think they'd pay over 100 million or 100 million.
There's my point.
Well, that's pretty much top dollar, isn't it?
That is top dollar. I don't think they'll pay that.
There's my point.
110 is the figure.
That's not Manchester City.
So
Alex, what'd you say? 110.
110 is the figure that I think.
Unless they can get players involved.
And are they going to get it, Alex?
Exchange.
I think they might get it out of Manchester City.
I think
when
cash?
A player of Harry Kane's ability becomes available, if you're Manchester City, if you're Manchester United, you have to be seen to be at the table. I think he'll end up at Manchester City. That's his preferred destination.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.